Hello Star Wars fans. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use PFClean to make some improvements to Team -1's Grindhouse edition of The Empire Strikes Back. While the Grindhouse edition is certainly a unique experience, probably as close as you and I are ever likely to get to watching an original 35mm film print of The Empire Strikes Back, some of you may want to try and clean it up just a little bit, to fix those colors that kind of fade in and out, stabilize the image, and to remove some of the more distracting pieces of dirt. Or you may be interested in fixing up just a few short sections of the film so they can be used in your own despecialized style project. Or perhaps you just want to learn how it all might be done. To demonstrate the techniques you'll need, I'm using the new Personal Learning Edition of PFClean 2015, which is free. All you have to do is visit their website at www.thepixelfarm.co.uk, click on PFClean, scroll down to the bottom of the page where it says Try PFClean for free, and after you fill out a form you can download either a 15-day trial of the product or the PLE version, which will not expire. Both are available for Mac, Windows, or Linux. It is important to note that the ability to export your cleaned footage is disabled in the PLE version. Let me repeat that. The Personal Learning version will not allow you to export your cleaned footage. It is designed only for you to hone your skills. However, the 15-day trial version will allow you to export your clean footage during that trial window. The first thing you'll need to do after you download PFClean, install it and run it, is to create a new project. To do this,
I'm going to create this project on my E drive rather than the C drive because there isn't much space on C. And I'll create it right here. Choose that directory. I'm going to call it Grindhouse ESB and click confirm. Okay, so now I'm in the workflow section of the software. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Media Manager, click on Browser. I'm going to go to my E drive, go to where I put these files, which is Star Wars ESB. There it is. So I'm going to drag that down here. Click on Video. I can drag this down to Manual Bin 1. Right here, now Manual Bin 1 has this in it. So this is my clip. It's not the whole movie, it's just a short section of it. When I'm working in PFClean, I prefer to use TIFF files. There are three reasons for this. Definitely I recommend using an image sequence, simply because if you use an image sequence, you can actually edit individual images in other software such as Photoshop, and then when you reopen PFClean, PFClean will update with whatever you did in Photoshop, which is not something you can do if you have, for example, a QuickTime movie. If you re-encode your QuickTime movie to include some change or other, PFClean will suddenly say missing media, because it's basically taking a checksum of the video and now it's different, so it's not the same video you started with, and you will lose any fixing you've already done to it. Another reason is if you're using a QuickTime video and that QuickTime video gets corrupted, same thing, you've lost all your fixes. You have to start all over again. So some kind of image sequence is definitely the way to go. PFClean supports TIFFs, PNG, EXR, DPX, whatever you want to use. I chose TIFF simply because it's fairly universal. You can use it in all kinds of software. Here's our clip. And I'm going to click on this scissor icon to cut it into scenes. So I'll let my clip, click on the scissors, and it's going to detect the scene changes when I click this button here. It'll start detecting them all automatically. And the reason you want to split the clips is because anytime you're going to do any kind of temporal fixing, it's going to look at the next frame and the previous frame. So if you're in the very last frame of your shot and you do a temporal fix, it's going to pull pixels from a completely different scene. So if that scene, for example, is one of those bright pink flashes you see in Star Wars all the time. And then your little tiny speck of dirt, 10 white pixels, is going to become bright pink. And it's going to look very odd. So if you split it into scenes, you'll save yourself a lot of trouble. And it also allows you to work on little sections of the film at a time, which is much more manageable. You'll get through it with your sanity intact. So it's currently at 30%. I will pause the recording for a second while that finishes and be right back. Okay, so it's about done, 99%. There it is. Didn't take very long at all. You can play with these settings here. This is the minimum length of a shot. Star Wars for sure has some scenes that are only 11 frames long, so you may want to reduce that. And the threshold is just how sensitive it is. So when it's done, you'll want to scrub through the timeline here and make sure that it got it all right. So all these blue markers represent a scene change. Boom. Yep, that one's correct. 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 Okay, I think we're good. So I'm going to commit all of these. Now when I go to my manual bin, you can see all these scenes. Back to the workflow, now I have a sequence. Double click on my sequence. Here are my scenes. I'm going to start with this last one. And I click on this button here to load it into the edit tool. This one will make it fit the window. Alright, so first let's cache the clip. You can do that by pressing play or by pushing this C button over here. But there are several things you should notice about this clip, besides the pops of dirt everywhere. One is it's not very stable. Another is the color is very unsteady. It's blue and then it's red and then it's blue again and it's red. And PFClean can fix all of these problems in just a few mouse clicks. First thing we're going to do is we're going to try and stabilize this. Now these are all of the operations you can do. These are all things you can add to your composition here to make it better. See, we've got a whole bunch of color operations, grain and noise, and then under image operations we have auto stabilize. So let's try that. All you have to do is select it. It appears in your stack of effects right here, and as soon as we hit play, it will cache that change and we'll see how well it did. Looks like it's doing pretty well. There it is, playing full speed. Let's take a look. This is with the effect, this is without it. You can see this is definitely moving around a lot more. With this you can drag so you can get the full effect. You can also spin it, I believe. You want to get it diagonal, horizontal. Very nice. Okay, turn that off for now. Stop the playback. Let me show you another way to stabilize. If you don't want to use auto stabilize, you can manually stabilize it. Also under image operations, just click stabilize. And you can choose a target frame. Say this one seems as good as any. Let's go back and forth and make sure there's something special about this one. Okay, I'll call that one the target frame. You can lock the motion so that it doesn't move at all. You can choose from various modes. Translation is basically just horizontal and vertical. You can choose to add areas. Essentially what you're doing here is you're finding somewhere with a big difference between light and dark contrast. For example, this light right here, or this window area. Oops, that area again. And the more you select, the more it will lock onto, and it can use those to stabilize the image. Now if you want to remove one, you can use the marquee, and you draw around it, and you can hit delete on your keyboard, and delete areas right here. And then that one's gone, but all the others should remain. So area 2 is still there, area 1 is still there. As I say, the more you draw, the more accurate the stabilization should be. So I'll put another one right there. I'll hit start. Let's see what it does this time. Curious to find out. It seems a little more jittery to me this time. What do you think? I think it seems like it's still jumping around a bit. So you want to remove an effect, you go down to here, you say delete effect. So the next issue I want to tackle is the color, the way it fades in and out. It looks quite nice, then it starts to get red, then it looks quite nice again, it gets red. And just applying a simple grade or a LUT to the whole shot isn't going to correct it because of the way it's fading in and out. It might correct this bit, but it won't correct the red bit. So let's see what we can do about that. So we go back to our toolbox and we choose color balance. We are going to set this to RGB, the black point, and get much blacker than space. Then we'll set the white point, again using RGB, to that bright white light. There. Then we're going to say balance clip. Then I'm going to go to RGB curves. Let's see, we still see some fading there. So let's go back to one of these redder frames. This one, I'm going to drag this red curve just slightly, and it'll probably crash. I've been doing that a lot today. I don't think it's very stable. Yep, it seems to have crashed. So we'll start it up again. Okay, project file is locked. Continue. Back to our sequence. Choose the clip we're working on. Open it in the editor. Okay, not too bad. Still a little bit of red at the very beginning, but apart from that, considerably better than it was. Get our curve. Yeah, I think that's much better, don't you? Definitely see more shifts to red on that side of the screen than you can on this side. The next thing we should do is tackle some of these snap, crackle, and pops. PFClean has a lot of tools for dealing with dirt, dust, and scratches. Let's take a look at some of them now. The first one we'll look at is Auto Dirt Fix, which does just what it says it does. You have a lot of settings here. Usually you want at least normal accuracy, but I always go with high. It makes it a little slower, but more accurate. You can look at dark dirt, light dirt, or both. Minimal contrast is the difference between the pixel that it thinks is dirt and the pixels around it. Size, you can set minimum and maximum numbers for the size in terms of pixels. That's the detection side. This is the fix side, spatial, temporal. Spatial fix, it looks at the pixels around, so let me zoom in a little bit here. Alright, so this piece of dirt right here, if we fix that spatially, then it will take pixels around, like using the clone tool in Photoshop. If we fix it temporally, it will look at those same pixels on the next frame and the frame before it, and make a decision based on what it finds there. Now, this is fully automated, so on this frame, if we click View, we can see all the dirt that it's already cleaned up. If you want to see what they are, that's what it did by default. Now, I can't help thinking that some of these may in fact be starred. I think we can confirm that. We turn it back on. Yeah. It's not all stars, but some of it is. And there is the danger with the automatic cleanup. It will clean up things that are not dirt. Very slight movement of the film makes the star move, so it's in one position on one frame, not quite the same on the next frame. Or maybe it's just twinkling. But whatever it is, you see that star right there on that particular frame, it said, oh, that's dirt. So whenever there's a star field or C3PO, R2D2, anything shiny that's moving and reflecting light, you need to be very careful with the automatic fix. There are ways around it. You can still use it, If you wanted to, for example, mask out this whole window so it didn't take care of anything in the window, you can do that quite easily. I'll show you. You click on mask. There are several tools, but in this case a rectangle will suffice. And you draw a rectangle around the window area and it will turn pink. There it is. Now, oddly enough, the mask needs to be inverted when you select the mask. It's telling the effect to do everything it can inside the mask and do nothing outside. So you need to invert that. Just click invert mask and now the effect will take place everywhere but inside there. Check that out. If we turn off the mask tool, you can see there it is. We go to view. Now there are no fixes in the stars. That's one way to deal with that. And if we want to look and see how that works, we can click play. We can click the C here to cache the result, and then we'll take a look and see how it is. Okay, let's take a look and see what the auto dirt dust cleanup did for us. Now, I still see quite a lot of dirt, but if you look at the before and after. After, this is before. Definitely cleaner. Still a lot of dirt. So what else can we do? Well, let's go back to our little toolkit here. Let's try dust burst. What did we lose in the dust burst? Look at all that. That's a lot of stuff. Some of those are legitimate pixels and some of them are truly dust. How does that look? Now again, you'll need to play with all these settings down here. Change the settings, full motion, half motion, no motion. You can deflicker it, constant. You can change the threshold. Dilate means it finds some dirt and it cleans up a few pixels around the dirt that it finds. The rejection, the higher that is, the more it will reject and not clean. Play with all these to adjust the output. Let's see how it's looking now. It's difficult, it's small enough to see. Most of the dirt will disappear anyway, but it looks pretty good at that range. Sure, we've removed some stuff we weren't supposed to remove, but depends on how thorough you want to be. Because when I look at this, I don't really see anything missing. Do you? I don't see any stars missing. I don't see anything missing apart from all these flashes and pops that you see here. So it depends on how much of a purist you are. Because you can do all of this manually if you prefer not to use the automated tools. So that's a pretty big improvement. This is the after. This is the before. Disembodied head. As you can see, the dirt cleanup of PFClean is really, really powerful. This didn't actually have any scratches, but I will find another clip with scratches. I'll show you that in another video.